Sister Julia, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I really appreciate you coming to see us this morning. And it took you 2 hours from Kent?
It was all right, yeah. From Kent to London, it's just
May Allah
normal.
reward you.
Thank you.
Now, you are originally from Hungary.
Yes.
How did you know about Islam? How did you become interested in Islam originally?
I'm from a small town in the south of Hungary. It's called Pécs, and it's a university town. And there are many people from, very different countries, and there were also people from some Muslim countries. And although it was like just normal, people at university, they weren't like the most religious ones, but there was something in their way of thinking that caught my attention. Not really my attention. I mean, I just, in a way, I felt I wanna think that way.
That was when you were a student there?
I was a student. I studied Italian literature.
Italian?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I was always, looking for my real home in a way, because I'm like from a mixed family, like most of the people in Hungary. It's like it was formerly like a very much bigger country, and like among my parents, my mother is from Transylvania. They are the original Hungarians who came from Asia, and from my father's ancestry, there are Slovakians, Polish, Croatians, even Jewish. So it's like a very big mixed family.
Because Hungary was part of a huge empire.
Yes.
The Austro-Hungarian
Yes,
empire.
exactly. That's what I feel like I'm from there, because like real Hungarian, there is like only like a very little part in me. Yeah, anyway. So I was looking for like who I am really. And the first place I really fell in love with, it was Italy. It was still before university. I spent 1 year there as a volunteer.
And that's what prompted you to study Italian literature.
Yes. So I studied Italian literature, and then in the university, in that small town, a much bigger world opened for me as I got to know people from Iran, from Egypt, from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, like, people from many, many different countries, even from Yemen. And what I really liked in the way of thinking of these people was that kind of peace of mind, that they weren't nervous if there was any problem. They would know it's gonna be solved in a way. Yeah. So
they just have trust in God.
Yes. And even though, I consider myself a Christian, and I did always kind of had like a connection to God, but like when I went to the Sunday service at the church, I didn't feel that thing.
What were you, Catholic?
I was Protestant. I was following my mother, so my mother was Protestant, and me and my sister were baptized as Protestant, and my father was Catholic. His mother was raised by the nuns, so they were like very, very Catholic. Although, like at the communist times, like every religion was kind of banned in Hungary. But like when we were about 10 years old, that's when the system changed.
Started opening up.
Yes. So that's when our parents took us to the respective churches. So I also have a brother, so he became a Catholic following my father. Yeah.
Some of you follow the mother, some of you follow the father.
That was their decision basically, but yeah. So that's kind of like the tradition in these kind of mixed families.
When was the decisive moment for you that you said, this is the religion I want to be in?
It's interesting. I couldn't say like one moment. It was actually my sister who decided it earlier.
She converted before you?
Yeah, no, we converted together, the three of us, my sister, a friend of us, and me.
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah, so it was the three of us converting together. It was like an incredible day, a June afternoon in 2002. Long time ago. We were very young.
Yeah, but there must be a story here.
It was, yes. So I had like these friends, but we were just like, I mean, I didn't know it was their religion that was saying these beautiful things. That was the reason for their open-mindedness, their peace of mind, And it was my sister who made like a deeper research, so she decided it much earlier than I did, and she was looking for like a place where we can study Islam, because of course we were like asking friends, but they didn't know like those deep answers.
You wanted people who had more profound knowledge about the deen.
Exactly. So my sister found a mosque, a very, very small mosque in Budapest. And so we went there, and there was a talk about Isa alayhi salam. And over there, they said some very, very beautiful things. Is that the way that the Christians talk about Isa alayhi salam, that the Son of God, sort of, it's just a way of saying, and then it kind of like I understood, like, yeah, okay, so this must be the truth, because there are like so many things in Christianity that are like, you don't have to understand it literally. So why we have to understand that thing literally, that someone is the Son of God? It must be something like, just like a feature, like a figure of speech, if we, if that's what we want to say. So it's like he is like a chosen one. He is like a very special person. Like his birth was in a miraculous way, because he didn't have a father. But that's just the only thing. And I think it was one of the things that made me realize that, okay, like this religion is, like, I mean, I always felt like there is like some kind of like universal truth, because I couldn't understand, like, okay, my mother goes to this church, my father goes to that church, so who is right? Like, I mean, I knew that there is like some kind of truth which is directly from God, but I didn't know which one was it. And then this was something like it brought me to like a clearer understanding.
So what you heard in the mosque was confirmation that Isa alayhi salam was a miracle indeed.
Yes.
But that did not mean that he had to be the Son of God.
Yes.
That's the idea.
It's just like a way of saying in a respectful way that like, and even in the Bible it says multiple times that like we, the people, the children of God. That's also like, they don't mean it literally. So why do they mean it like about one particular person? Yeah,
but the problem is that although it might have started as a figure of speech, it developed into an actual creed.
Yes.
An actual faith.
Yes.
That people think that God does have a son.
Yeah. Anyway, and then I was already like looking for ways to learn more about Islam. And then that was also like some kind of like a beautiful story, that I traveled many times between Pécs, my town, and Budapest, the capital. And on the train, once like there was like seat reservation, right? And right next to me there was a girl about my age, wearing hijab.
Oh.
And then we started to talk, and I asked her like, okay, like, are you a Muslim? Yes. Are you Hungarian? Yes. And where did you become a Muslim? Like, how? And where can we study
she was
about?
Hungarian.
She was Hungarian. Yeah, she reverted like some 4 years before me. We are, until today, we are best friends.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
So she left an impact on you.
She guided me to the right people, because there was indeed a community in Pécs, in my town. They only met like for Friday prayers, and Yeah, so he told me like there is like a small mosque. It's like a beautiful mosque. I only thought it's just a museum because it was built by the Turkish, because the Turkish Empire, the Ottoman Empire, it ruled Hungary over 150 years back in, I mean, long time ago, in the 1500, something like
The
that.
16th century.
Something like that, yes, yes. So they built many mosques, but most of them are either converted to churches or became museum like this one. But this small mosque, it was like right, where my mother's house, like at the corner of the street. So it was very small, very very near to me, my house. But I didn't know there were people there, practicing
You thought
Islam.
it was a museum.
Yeah. And then she told me, like, after the Friday prayers, I can just go there and talk to the imam. And that imam, he was a doctor, and he was originally from Yemen, but he spoke like perfect Hungarian, because it was like two programs at the university. Like, some people studied in English, some people studied in Hungarian. And yeah, and then then first time I think I went, and then second time my sister and my best friend came as well. And then he spoke about, like, there is the whole universe. um the whole universe is following some kind of like a rule. It's not like just, the planets are like going all around, just the way they feel like. No, they are following
A system.
a system, exactly, that the way the creator taught them, or set them on. And also, if we see the nature, like how the seasons change, like in Hungary, there is like the summer is very hot, the winter is very cold. So, like, not like here, it's more mild. Yeah, so we can see it also follows a system, and it's not just, by chance, and then we were like, yeah, okay, like, definitely it makes sense. And then he continued that also, we humans, we can do, like, okay, just live as we feel like, or we are free to follow the system that our creator set us on. That is the best way to live, the best way we can bring out the best of ourselves. And
And you like that.
we said, like, wow, this is the truth. Yeah.
You have the
So,
freedom and you choose.
yes, exactly. And then he said, like, what are you waiting for? And we were like, not so sure. And next time he talked about the same thing again.
You went back to him again.
Yeah, so every Friday after the prayer, there was some kind of like a lecture. And then we went back the next week, and then he spoke about also about, like women's rights, that the way, there are these rules in Islam, that people are not just, like, having fun, and then, like, fun, sort of, and then, leaving each other when the fun is finished, just like, young people live. And but it's their it's their respect, it's the respect people give to women, it's the respect people give to men, it's the respect, like, you respect yourself if you don't get into these kind of dangerous situations. Because most of the young people, their biggest problem, at least at that time, before, social media and everything, like, at that time, biggest problem of young people was, like, heartbreaks. which i- and then, like, how can you prevent yourself from that if you only get into a relationship with someone who 100% that they respect you, who that they are committed, that they're gonna be stand by you, like, as long as it's possible, not just, like, take the good what they need and then they just leave. And then we were like, yeah, really, this really makes sense. And then he asked again, like, what are you waiting for? And then my sister, she was the bravest, mashallah, Allah yarhamha, because, she passed
Oh, she
away.
passed away.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
older than you?
No, she's 2 years younger than me, and she passed away like 4 years ago, but it's like a later, like a different story. I'm gonna come back to this later. So I'm just wanna speak about like how brave she was, It was, I think, of the three of us. Also, my best friend, she was like very determined to become a Muslim at that time, but it was my sister who was the bravest of the three of us, and she said like, nothing, we are ready. And then the three of us, we said the Shahada.
Yeah,
Alhamdulillah.
subhanallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Now, what was the response of your family?
Um,
Must
I
have
mean,
been hard, wasn't it?
yes, I mean, in a way, I expected much better because, my father, he's an anthropologist. So the way that, to look for the origin of the things, of the source of the things, I, in a way, not like inherited, kind of like learned from him. And also my mother, she also studied anthropology, and she was working at the archive, so they are like very highly educated people. So but obviously it's like they felt that we have chosen like a different path. So they were kind of disappointed. They accepted my sister earlier, because soon after that she got married to a medical student. Like he became a doctor at that time, so he graduated, so she was like kind of like sad, but they were, worried about me, like, and I started to wear like, looser clothes, and, like step by step also, like sometimes I appeared in, like, it's a small town, and then people were telling me like, telling my mom, like, how your daughter looks like, like she thinks she's from like, somewhere. So obviously it wasn't easy, mostly for my mom, because my parents divorced, so my father lived in Budapest. No, at that time he was living in America, so he was just like coming and going sometimes.
Your mother was coming under pressure from the community. What's happening to your daughter?
Yes. Yes. And also because like she's like a very devout Christian. I mean, like, it took some time for her to like to not to worry about us, to accept that there are other ways towards God, like it took her like years. But I mean, I think when she found that, like our lives became like easier, not more difficult, that our friends also, like circle of friends changed, like we didn't go out, like didn't go out at night anymore. We had like, most of our friends. I mean, I wanted to keep my friendship with all of my friends, because I thought it's like genuine friendship, but I had to realize like there are,
Probably they themselves cannot maintain the friendship anymore, because it's
yeah,
they see you, they see in you a different person.
yeah. I mean, I only had like one or two friends who I had from before. Yeah.
Now, you told me your sister passed away.
Yes.
Where was she when she passed away? Was she still in Hungary?
No, it was 4 years ago. They are living in Sweden. So after that, like they got married. Her husband is originally from Tunisia, and they lived a couple of years in Hungary. But in Hungary already at that time, the economy was not really strong, and even though he was a doctor, they struggled.
So they migrated.
So they went to Sweden, and like the first two daughters, they were born in Hungary, and then the second two, they were born in Sweden. So they are Swedish already, Swedish it's a wonderful place, mashallah, very open. The girls don't have any problems with hijab at school, so it's a nice place.
Where, in
Alhamdulillah,
Stockholm
mashallah.
or Malmo?
No, near Stockholm,
Mm.
a small town.
Mm.
Yeah.
What was the cause of her death?
Um, it's a genetic problem, and unfortunately, when like I had cancer 10 years ago, the first time, and it wasn't understood at that time that it was genetic.
Also, both of you had the same
Yes,
condition?
yes, yes.
Subhanallah.
So, like we were living in Yemen 10 years ago, and I discovered it on myself. So it's very important to check yourselves regularly. I'm saying it to women especially because it was breast cancer, and that's why we went back to Hungary. And then I was treated, and alhamdulillah, I was saved. But the root cause that it was a genetic problem, it wasn't discovered. Unfortunately, the doctor didn't check.
In case of your sister?
Yes. So, I mean, I know everything is written and it's the qadar
It's
Allah.
true. It's true.
And I know there is no such a
Subhanallah.
thing that if, because it
Yeah,
opens. But, it was a very big mistake.
nowadays they say this. Nowadays they
Yeah.
say if cancer is detected early, especially breast cancer,
Yeah.
there is a high probability of
Yes.
cure.
Yes.
But of course, if it's not discovered early on, it's
Yeah.
the will of Allah.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be too
Yeah.
late.
And my sister, mashallah, even though she was less than 40 when she died, but her life, mashallah, the way she raised her 4 daughters, mashallah, the way she was like a very exceptional figure, even between the community, even though like she wasn't like the part of the community in Hungary, but whenever they came, she participated in the summer camp. She taught. She studied a lot. Mashallah, she taught her daughters. So she set a kind of example, mashallah, that even though her life was very short, but that's the qadar Allah, and she set a kind of like high example for all of us, for her daughters, and for me, and for all of our friends.
Do you visit her daughters, or they
Yes.
visit you? You meet?
Both, yeah. We go like very often, and now this spring it's gonna be my brother's wedding, so they are coming, inshallah, soon. Yeah, yeah.
And living here in the UK, are you part of a community, or are you feeling? I mean, how do you manage?
So I came back to the UK now, the third time. The first time I came here when I finished university back in Hungary, and I was like, okay, where am I gonna work in Hungary with hijab? And I was like a Italian teacher. No way I could work at school. I mean, I know like nowadays it's much better, but at that time it was almost impossible.
Well, luckily things are changing to the better.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, step by step, one step back,
So you
two
decided
steps
to
forward.
stay here.
I came here with a friend of mine, the friend who we became Muslims with. And yes, and so it was 16 years ago, something like that. And then I stayed here for 2 years. It was in East London. Then my best friend, she got married over there. And then people in the community back in Hungary, they told there is someone who is interested in me. So I went back to Hungary. That's when they say love is blind, but alhamdulillah, this is also qadar Allah. So I went back to Hungary, and I had like my elder son, and then a couple of years later we went to Yemen. And then when I went back to Hungary because of my first sickness, and then I stayed in Hungary, and I worked. And yes, and then that's when difficult things happened in Hungary, because there was the refugee crisis in 2015. So the general public kind of turned against the people who were like visibly Muslims.
Mm.
And we had like a family business, and it became like bankrupt because people wouldn't come to a shop
They don't want to buy from the Muslims?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we lost basically everything. My husband at that time, he went to another country to look for something, and we were just there. I mean, I was pregnant, my elder son was 10, and I didn't know what to do. So I came to the UK. I mean, I gave birth, and with the when Yasin was 3 months, we came to the UK. And then I found a job. It was very good. I could work online because soon after, we didn't know, but there came the lockdown. So I could work from home with my children. It was very, very easy. It was in a small town near Birmingham. But unfortunately, 2 years later, I was again diagnosed with cancer. And then I was like, okay, what to do? Over there, with no support whatsoever, I couldn't even go to the GP. So I decided to go back to Hungary again. And then I was treated over there. And then, as my health status became better, I came back with the children, and now we live in Kent. And I'm, in a way, looking for finding like a community, because back the
But
time
in
when I
Kent,
lived
there
in,
is not a big Muslim community in Kent,
I
is there?
don't think so, but in London, like the London is near.
London is near,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
It's what? It's about 40 minutes to Victoria from Kent?
40 or 50, it depends on
the
the
train.
train. Yeah, yeah. So it's easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in London, yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, now I'm kind of like, inshallah, rebuilding my life.
Inshallah.
So I'm looking for maybe finding like some bigger community. Yeah.
Well, Sister Julia, I really wish you the best. And
Thank you.
again, thank you very much for making the trip today to come and see us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.